All right, guys, hope all is well. This is my first video being back from India, so I'm excited to kind of crack on. Um, I'm going to be doing two videos a week now, so I'm going to be posting one on the weekend, and I'm going to be posting one on Wednesday as well, just kind of like a midweek one. So Sunday's going to kind of be previous week and this next coming week, and then Wednesday is obviously going to be like midweek to see what we're kind of looking at and what we're playing with. So first of all, what I'm going to be looking at is dollar. Dollar is kind of being quite bearish right now. We did have a really good test of this clean zone in here on the daily as well. You can see we came in and filled this daily inefficiency, which is really nice. Breaker structure came down, just looking for a pullback. You can use, I'm pretty sure you can use your fib as well on this pullback into our zones above the 50%, and then we died all the way back down to our extended fib. So looking for next week. Weekly, we have this weekly imbalance, which is now being broken. Primarily, I'm looking to come down. I want to see this monthly get filled. And equally, if we do that, we could maybe come down a bit deeper and then continue higher. So that would be nice if we kind of got some move like this. That is what I'll be looking at on dollar. Equally, we could just come into this zone and then continue higher. So we are going to have to see and assess about what happens when we come into this area. Um, but for the time being, that monthly is really what I'm going to kind of be focusing on. And you can see we have a weekly one down here. So that's looking quite nice for us to come back into. Um, Anywhere now where we can get pullbacks, I don't think they're going to be as deep. I literally only have it to this weekly point, and then the continuation's lower from here. So you can see any kind of where within this buy to sell, really nice. You can see this took that, and then this fair value gap in here that got filled and tested, which is amazing. So dollar shorts looking for pullback next week. The only way I'm going to be looking for dollar strength is if there is, this is on a daily time frame, if we do get that daily push up, then hopefully vice versa, then we'll be able to see, hopefully look to see something come down on other pairs, XX USD pairs, or we just wait for the pullback to continue, which is probably what I'm going to do, and then we'll look for the shorts. So yes, if anything, if price is going to break above here and we have like a strong impulsive buy on the daily, then my bias will change. But considering we're working well within this leg, I don't really see that happening. But again, I could be wrong. So daily looking for pullbacks and then nice simple continuations back down into our monthly zones, looking for 1288 around there, 1250 zone, 12850, whereas 12850, 12850 is right in the middle of where this fair value gap is. So that's fantastic. So that's dollar. FTSE had a couple nice positions yesterday after NFP. Well, let's first of all go on to the daily. Just gonna have a sip of my coffee. So daily, we have came into, well, first of all, you can see on the monthly, we are bullish. No matter what you say, we are bullish. Even this candle close or is closing. Actually, no, sorry. Even the weekly is now closing, not anywhere near below our previous low. The only thing that's kind of given me a slight think is we had this high. We didn't break it. We did just wick it again on the daily. We didn't wick that. We didn't close above it. We just wicked it. But that doesn't mean that we can't. Price came down into our daily fair value gap, which is here, but we have an inverted fair value gap. You can see inversions. So I'm always going to be going off the inversion. You can see really, really nice test into the 50. Price came down one more time, and we had a really, really big reaction. Now, for me, I am obviously I'm bullish on UK 100, but I do have the understanding that price could like drop down. We could take some lows in here, or on the weekly, we could fill maybe more of this, potentially more of this. Maybe, I'm not sure. We could just continue running. That's fine. One thing that I really like though about this daily is on this daily, price opened and there was no liquidation of nothing. So whenever you see a candle like this with no wick is just showing you that as soon as it opened, complete buys were offered. And even here you can see as soon as it's open, we came up a bit and then it moved. And then again on this one daily, you can see prices actually came up and filled something. But with this one, nothing's actually been filled. As soon as it opened, prices died, which is why I have the anticipation that we could see either we could just continue from here and go higher and take it out. I personally would like the price to come down slightly a little bit more, and then we're going to run it up. That's what I would like. But I don't like the fact, like, if you just look, every daily candle that didn't have a wick was taken. So again, you can hear this died off. This candle here, it died off, and then it got taken. So let me just, this candle here didn't have a wick. This candle here, that didn't have a wick. That didn't have a wick. That got taken. So a lot of these daily moves and candles that don't have wicks do get taken. Again, you can see here, daily bearish move. We then took that out. So this has given me a nice little um, test that price maybe could come back up in here and take out this daily high, which is what I'm anticipating. So last week previous, we had a few opportunities. Price had broken the high, and I was looking for price to first react anywhere into this move in here. I had a really, really nice clean 5 minute move off here last week. Let me just play that. So off of this low, I was looking for price to come into and above this high. We almost did it the day before in here. I almost did the day before. Closed out. Price came all the way back down. It's really clean actually. Yeah, price came all the way all the way back down. We took this low, and I was kind of somewhat anticipating this to happen. Where are we? Anticipating this to happen. We had this hourly zone off here. This filled and tested this. So price then push, we came up still off of this big zone in here. I was looking for here, took a small loss, and then price was coming back down. I was like, okay, cool, we're just coming down into here. If I can see that this is just a liquidation, that price is going to go higher, then that's fine. So I was already bullish with this target in mind. On the 5 minute, price came out. Where was this? This was 6, 7 London hours. We had all of this Asian liquidity that happened because on the 10 minute and the 15 minute when price closed, again, what are we seeing? We're seeing these candles which don't have a wick on top of them, which is telling me that nothing else other than that specific point there was anything else offered. So we had our strong sell move down, that created an imbalance. As price was coming up on the 10 minute, you can see we basically already filled that imbalance. So soon as price started breaking above this and we'd actually closed this 1 minute, this 5 minute for value gap, I just had the anticipation that this was just a raid. We had already tested in high time frame positions and that we are going to push higher. So soon as I saw my one strong candle, which shown that there was a lot more intent. So again, you can see down here, price came down even on a 1 minute. Even on a 1 minute. Where are we? Even on a 1 minute, we can see that shift in price. All of these lows were taken. We had that low, and then we had that pump in price. We had this last down move here, but in all reality, it was actually this higher time frame move. As soon as we came on there, then we just started pumping and we started braking and shifting in the 1 minute. And then, if anyone can see it, I then managed to get in on, where are we? Here. I then managed to get in off this imbalance in here. This is London Open that wicked us in. What is this? 5 minute 5:30 just before 7:55 just before London. As soon as London opened, you can see boom, we mooned. So I had my stop just below here, and I had my target above these highs. And you can see we just mooned. Actually, that's a lie, I'm sorry. I had my stop loss to this high. And then you can see price absolutely just mooned. That was Friday. That was a 7.5 hour. Literally just from identifying a high time frame positions. We started all the way on the weekly, spoke about the daily and fair value gaps, the reactions from these, looking at price to potentially push and continue higher. Why are we looking for that when we were down here? Because this is the first time price had actually came in to this whole zone. Boom, we came in, we had a really nice reaction here. This wasn't a high in the market, in my opinion, because there was nothing else that swept this. If we had a move like this, then fantastic. But we didn't. All of this just rolled. And again, here, I'm pretty sure this was late 1 a.m. Asia high. What do I tell you guys every time about Asia highs and lows? Asia highs and lows are literally the biggest targets that you can be looking for when you're trading. It's actually so OP. Asia highs, Asia lows, never trust them. Never, ever, ever trust Asia highs or Asia lows. This is our high, not protected. We came down. We did feel somewhat of this massive volume in here, and then we just dumped. And as soon as we dumped, then again, even breaking it down way before price had even came into these sections. This is still when I was in India. I remember this happening. Price came down. Um, we dumped. I actually got a short from. I actually got a short on a 5 minute zone in here when I was away. Yeah, right off this. And I'm pretty sure I even whittled it down to another entry that I had as well. This is our Asia high. This is all London. Where are we going into London session? Yeah, 8 a.m. This is all London. So we had Asia high that got taken. What a shock. We did have all of this run of this liquidity, which happened with the news. But for me, I was just seeing that as a target wick and then caught an entry, only a very small entry, just because of the volatility, off of this 5 minute move in here. And then price dumped and it hit my target when we got to here. So when we'd actually broken and confirmed that, I was like, okay, cool. I want to see price come lower because again, what do we have down here? Asia high and Asia low, of course. So I said, okay, cool. If I can get a test back into this zone, why am I looking at price to come into this zone again? Because we swept Asia high. We created this big imbalance. I was actually looking for to get in somewhere in here. And then price ran and ran and ran and ran and ran. But this is my that last point of contact that should have been, because you can again see even just so smallly that that wick got ran by this and then it dumped. So super clean test entry all the way down to the lows. So the first one was a 1 to 4.8, and then the second, actually no, I'm sorry, I had my stop loss slightly a bit higher. Another 4.7, so just around like 9 point something R within the space of 6 hours. So as long as you're actually really just looking and waiting, like soon as we had this big move happened, it's never, oh no shit, I've missed it and have the fear of mo and of losing out. Because don't get me wrong, I've literally had that so many times and still get it nowadays. Like I'll see a move like this happen, you're like, fuck's sake, like should have been in on this. But the way we trade the best thing, we're always trading off of breaks, fills, and tests of something. So there's never not an opportunity to get in on somewhere. Again, price coming down, breaking low. I didn't get in on this, but again, you can just follow everything all the way coming down. Fair value gaps, entry, stop loss just above this high, take it down lower. Like there's so many opportunities just on one pair to be looking at. But I never risk a full 1%, so I didn't gain 9 point something percent in that time. I just caught that RR on the trade. So a couple nice sells again into last week. So I was only selling from this point with obviously the understanding that I wanted to see price come down here. Yes, could have, would have hold it, but that was just my target. I was away. I didn't want to be looking at anything too heavy and too crazy. But price eventually then came back down here. Price then started to roll and we started shifting and pushing higher. You can see we had this big fair value gap in here, which price then came filled at the 50%. We can all see that price. We had that low, boom, we ran it, we continued higher. There was some news that came out, obviously, which was this big sell to buy movement. But again, there was still no high in here, so I always had that anticipation of price coming back up here. Price came back down into this zone. You probably could have done a swing position because we're bullish anyway. What would have been super acceptable is could have had a 2.5 R here or 3 R here. Honestly, catching smaller R's on trades, if you're doing that consistently, for me, catching lower R trades has made me more consistent than always trying to catch like these big ones or like these bigger ones. And yes, obviously, like it's nicer to be able to like catch moves like these, but you are prone to more losses when you're on the lower time frame. And my risk on these was only smaller. But with this one, yes, again, you could have got in basically at the exact same point and could have had your R a lot smaller. You're still like in and involved, and if you're not comfortable with doing these lower time frame setups yet, that's completely fine. And again, you can see price would have triggered you in, it came all the way back down, still got breathing room, and then before you know it, price mooned and dumped. So what I like to do now is if I'm looking, I didn't do this overall one, but I'm saying what you could do is what you could do is you can have your overall big trade like this, and then you can actually then go on a lower time frame and then actually try and find your the entry that you want. So there's so many different ways about doing it. Again, had another position on here. I was looking for price to come back down and fill us in this hourly. Yeah, in this hourly for value gap in here. This isn't bad that I was looking at this because obviously broken structure raided liquidity, but then you can see price just dumped through us. That's fine. Um, did um, catch 2.5 R on this one. Again, why 4 hour, what was we doing? We then took this high, strong buy candle, and then we basically just came all the way back into it. We have a fair value gap here, but we also have something a little bit higher. Let's go into it. Okay, so nothing really too crazy. We just had that fair value gap and this zone in here. Price then we came all the way down. We took out this low, but we didn't really break below it. Price came all the way up. We tested and we just took this high, and I said I wasn't really going to be too surprised if price came all the way back up here because we have this move here and we can refine that. And this tested that. That's fine. Price came all the way up and then we dumped back down. And I said, okay, cool. Let me see if we're going to get some sort of fill within this. Literally just a small 2 hour trade. Price came down and then we dumped. So that was nice. And again, now I was just trading back up into this fair value gap. But what I think is going to happen is because we're closing in it and we're closing above the 50%, I think price is now just going to run and push. So this daily open that you can see that I've drawn on here, this is where we are here. This is where 1 a.m. opened, or this is where Asia opened. So on some other pairs, there is a gap here, and you can see, if I just delete this, you can see price came up going into market closure, and then we just died off from here. So I do think that price could actually have one more run back up to the top side. You can see here we do have this wick high and all of this is going into London Open, but I really want to see if we can fill this daily open and maybe see if we're going to come back and dig a bit deeper, maybe into these levels quite potentially. Again, this is going into market closure. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But going in from next week, last week was good. Had nice accumulation that was happening. Again, this zone down here is our um, daily fair value gap. And I was thinking, okay, cool, I want to definitely see price come back up into these highs. Really nice accumulation. Price came down, created equal lows. It came up again. We dumped one more time. Price then through NFP, we'd already had our raid here, but this is all just mitigating. Price then on NFP, we had a generation of liquidity here. We had a generation of liquidity in this high as well. And in fact, we had a generation of liquidity all within these highs. This is 2 a.m. This is Asia market. This is Asia market high. And I was looking for this high as well. But more importantly, was looking for these highs. NFP, we came out, price absolutely mooned. And then we did nothing other than generate liquidity, which is exactly what I wanted to see. So I said, okay, cool. If we can get a move back down, you can see we had this breaker block here. I was taking it off this overall 1 minute fair value gap. This also lines up with this 5 minute fair value gap, breaker, order block, whatever you want to call it. And then I was looking to run this up into this high. So price then broke up. As soon as we broke up, I said, okay, cool. I do still think that we could go and run to the top side again. Looking at our fair value gaps here, I then said, okay, cool. I'm going to take a position off this 15 minute. But for this instance, I was going to break it down again. As you can see, as soon as price opened, there wasn't really that much wick to this, and price just opened. So we came down. We filled this little mark in here, and then we both, on both positions, just mooned and just tagged this high. Then we did actually come all the way back down again. I wasn't involved in this. And then we just had a bit of a deeper retracement. And then price really then really mooned up. But this was expected that price was going to do this. I thought we were going to do it when we came here. But if we just look on the 1 minute, like again, look how much of a generation of liquidity all of this was building, just all within here. So there was a given that this was going to get taken, honestly. And again, the fact that it came, this goes just to go through another example that like fair value gap can be tested more than once. And like you can see, it was a strong zone. I would have still been in this position had it have not been. I think my stop loss was actually slightly a bit deeper than that, to be fair. And then you really could have ran this all the way higher. Obviously, I didn't. Shoulda, woulda, coulda, I know. But 3R after NFP on Friday, I'll take it. So for the here and now, what we are looking at is prices came up and filled this fair value gap on the 13 minute. In here, I'm still looking for these highs to get taken. So now what I'm really looking for is price to give us a retracement back down into this zone for continuations higher. Now, if I pull a fib, can see my 718, my 687, my 786, sorry, are all within this zone, and um, my levels are over and above where my target is, which is perfect. So there's a few things that could happen next week. Obviously, we have that daily open with that hourly open with that hourly fair value gap, which also does line up with this fair value gap in here. Price very much well could react off here and go higher. But as you can see previously, prices can react in a zone more than once before it actually will then continue and start pushing higher. So if price was to then come back down here, have a nice reaction, and then it could actually dump a bit more and push down lower. And I'm looking overall to see if I can get a fill and a test off of this 5 minute fair value gap that was created in here. And you can see this is where price just came in. We mooned nice just buy volume within here. So any sort of move back down into this, kind of like in here, how price, it kind of came in, it tests, and then it comes down, it comes deeper, and then we actually have that real push move. But even just on the 30 minute, that does look clean, really nice accumulation within here, and price is just pumping and bursting. So now I want to definitely see if price is going to come back down and we are going to have the continuation higher. There is a few different ways that you can play this. You could have a position here and hold it. That would be 2.4R. Honestly, still good trade. Could have you could have a position here and then have another position a bit lower. See what it's going to do and then run it. So if you had the two positions, that would be a 2.4 plus 4R, so six, just around 6.5R for the week on these. That could be a nice potential. Could even swing one and then get involved in on a lower one. That could be quite nice. Um, Definitely looking for the 1 minutes down here though. Uh, I will have to wait and see. But it's a difficult one because sometimes you don't always need to push like that strong RR all the time. And if you can just get in on a position, just sit and leave it, that's going to do you better than anything. So I would personally just leave mine like this for the time being and see how price is then going to play out and what other opportunities we get because this is, I mean, how this is a hundred and I know it says 11,000. It's not. It's actually target is 111. So there's 111 pips within this big range. So just look at the positions like the one I had in here and had in here. If price is going to come down, fill and test, and it's going to come up and generate more liquidity, there's going to be something else in here that we can get in on. So even if you get in on a position like this which is better RR, or it'll be less RR. Does still doesn't mean you can't then come in and gain another position. So this one this one was was three, sorry. So even though it was slightly less RR than the original main one, that still doesn't mean that you can't get in on a position like this, and then just follow it up and just keep adjusting your stop losses. And that's kind of one thing that I've started doing is kind of layering up my trades. Like I very rarely have one position on one market, depending on what risk I'm using. But I never really have more than I never have less than like one or two positions on at once because I do like to use slightly lower risk, but then actually get in on a few different positions. So yeah, it's interesting. So that's UK 100. Really, really good breakdown on this. So I'm excited to see what happens for next week on that one. NZD USD, literally nothing. I caught when I was away, caught buys off this super clean trade. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was actually trading off this whole zone, and then I managed to get in on a position in and around here, I think, after what's this there? So I had a long, my stop loss was about there. I think it was there. Was it there? No, it couldn't have been. I wouldn't have taken this trade. I think it's around here. It was over a two, I know that. And then a 5 minute, then caught another entry in and around, I think, where was it off? It was in this zone, I feel like. It was after this fight. What time is this? Yeah, this is 1 a.m. So this is when I was in India. Um, this was the time zones that I was trading off when I was in India. So NZD came down, and we still had this zone in here. So this is my first original entry. Price came down, and I had a feeling that this was not only just to sweep this low, but also just to actually fill and test that 30 minute. Because this 30 minute had a really like massive raid of all of these lows. So that was a clear fill and a clear test. If we use that inversion fair value gap, you can see that price actually just um, stayed above and closed above that 50%, which is really, really nice to see. So that was the first initial point of protocol, which was here. Still in this trade, price came up, we came all the way back down, we tested, and then price started to give us a big shift in momentum. Once I was kind of identifying that shift, I was then saying, okay, cool. If we start breaking and closing above this fair value gap in here, I am going to look for longs. Price then, where are we? Um, Price then came down. We respected this fair value gap. Price came up. We came down. We wicked. On the 1 minute, we started breaking and closing above this. So this whole candle in here, I got another entry and I was waiting for a confirmation of this high as well. So I had my long. I actually feel like I did have my stop, maybe just at this low, to be honest with you. So that was my second entry, and I was targeting again the same high as before. So my initial entry 2.2, second entry 4.5 are really clean, and that just ran. After that, price came all the way down, dumped, and we took out this low. So now I want to see if price is going to want to continue higher. I'm not looking at anything too heavy on this pair, honestly. We had this, which was filled with this. Price broke higher. We have this zone in here to see if price is going to maybe want to come like this. And that means if we invert it, that's kind of what we're looking for on the dollar, even though we are looking more on like a daily aspect. Where are we? Dollar, see daily, we're waiting for this move. And or if we invert this, we're looking for that move. And on NZD we are waiting for the same thing basically. So what could this mean? A week, a few days of consolidation coming down, wait for a big, strong buy move, look for the fair value gap, and then trade it. This is going to be your first target here. That is what I would personally be waiting for. Nothing really too much. My main focus next week is looking at UK 100 because these two do look like really nice opportunities. Silver, again, nice trade. I was looking for more buy side movements, and I want to see a lot of these highs get taken. So far, we ain't got that yet. What we did do is on the 4 hour, I was just looking for a swing trade off of this zone. I have my stop just down here because you can see we raided these lows here. Price came filled and we tested. That was really, really nice. Uh, yeah, we came downfield, we tested, and from there we had a big expansion move. I then said, okay, cool. I want to see if I can then get in on a buy off of this 30-minute, which I did manage to achieve. So I had the original buy, stops below this low and above, slightly just under 2R on that one, nothing crazy. Um, Took the original one out and this one out, closed above here when you can see price kind of not really showing you that much momentum. I mean, we were stood here consolidating for 8 hours. So what's the point of being in a trade if you're in it for that long? Obviously, NFP then came. We took this low. I wasn't trading this, but then you could have then slightly refined that to then do this. And we raided. So now, are we actually gonna have something like this? If we can get a like nice buy to sell, then we can look to see if we can get in off anything and then just take it higher. So let's wait and see and let us give a bit more confirmation on this. But this really nice expansion, just continuating with all of it. So let's see going on for next week. UK oil let me down. I thought we were going to get another run, but we didn't. It looked like a really, really nice trade. We just didn't get it. It's fine. It came down to where I was expecting. Daily, excuse me, daily fair value gap in here. Just want to see if price is gonna have one more run and then dump. Um, Looks quite nice. Still waiting for potential fibs to line up. And then we'll look for the lower price. Now, I'm with funding pips, and sometimes when I'm looking at the market on oil and when I'm looking at the market on my computer on like the broker, the prices don't actually always line up, and it's really bizarre. So it kind of does throw me off sometimes about trading it, but I do quite enjoy looking at like the economics of things. So that is UK oil. Gold wasn't really anything amazing. And that was kind of the only real pairs that I was looking at. I was looking at USD JPY as well. There was a really nice trade on a 15-minute in here. That would have been an entry really, really nice. But overall, we're bearish. I was anticipating this weekly or monthly, was it weekly or month? Yeah, this monthly low to get met, which is fine. Dollar's dying at the moment, so I do want to continue with that idea that dollar is going to die. If we do have some sort of pullback, maybe next week, could maybe dig a bit deeper into somewhere in here. Um, yeah. that maybe could be what we could look for. Sells from this point. VWAP. Is there anything in here that we could trade off? Maybe could get in on somewhere like this, but I'm not really going to force that. Um, Potential longs, intermediate longs, maybe next week. See how it plays. GBP, JPY. Again, nothing too crazy. Was still looking at a lot of this run. I'm still waiting. And Euro JPY, sorry. Uh, Again, 4 hourly, big fair value gap, just trying to break it down. This is that last zone, fib, high to our low, lining up somewhat, unless you want to take this low, still lining up somewhat, but let's see. I wouldn't be doing anything until all of this is swept, so that, um, but price still could come run out slow. So again, I am just waiting for a memento on this one. But yeah, that's all I've got for the time being, really. Honestly, my main focus next week is USD UK 100. But if any of you guys got any questions, please let me know. Feel free to fire away. Sessions, if you guys want sessions, then message me and let me know. But I'm going to be fully active this week, so if anyone's ready, then let's do it. So yeah, thank you guys, and I'll catch you on Wednesday.